Acapulco, Mexico. This is Anarchast.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet, here with Luke Rudkowski of We Are Change here in Acapulco. And you dropped in again. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Always good to see you. You've been down the last few in Acapulcos. You're going to be coming up to the next one. You're going to be doing your We Are Change, Change Media University there as well. Looking forward to that. And I got too many chihuahuas, but what's been going on with you? You've been traveling around a lot. You were just at Berkeley. You've been continued to be totally cut off by YouTube, by Facebook, and stuff like that. Is that correct?
The usual, just the usual of the grind and hustle that's been happening for about 10 years now. It's always interesting seeing things change so quickly. At one point, I was really thinking, wow, like we're really winning this. We're really able to inform the people about what's really happening. We're really able to change some minds. And then it just seems out of nowhere, because of Charlottesville and Berkeley, I'm looking back and I'm like, man, we're going back. We're digressing so quickly. So it is fascinating looking at that kind of different landscape as it's been changing when, TV as an institution, when it was out, it became controlled by very few people. One thing that made the internet great was that it was decentralized. But now we're seeing the same kind of control by very few people and institutions that are doing and building things that are far more superior and far more powerful than we even think consciously ourselves. We had a short conversation about artificial intelligence, but the developments that I see companies like Facebook and Amazon and Google make, and their kind of alignment and integration with intelligence agencies, I see as one of the biggest threats to humanity, and also their monopolies, because you can't get away from Google. You can't really have a thriving independent media business without Facebook. You can't break news if you're not on Twitter. So it's extremely difficult right now understanding these institutions, their kind of own political stance and their own political bias, their own adherence to the stockholders, which brought me in a very interesting debate that I think we should even have and talk to ourselves about whether the corporatocracy is a bigger danger or the government. Because I know a lot of times you point the finger directly at the corporatocracy, at the government. Yeah. And I'm looking at all these latest developments. I'm like, wow, these elites, I think, learned a lot, because there was, the old robber barons, the J.P. Morgan Chases, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds. Those were individuals that were selected and picked and spotted out, and everyone knew those guys are big banksters. Now I think the elites kind of became smarter, and now they have bigger kind of quasi-corporate entities that are brands that are not as easy as able to go after than as one individual. They don't have as many weaknesses because, again, they're on many instances, because for some reason people aren't as reactive towards a brand as they are a single individual person. And another one is they have a lot of protection, being a private organization, that even though that they're integrated with the government, because of that quasi-private, they're able to get away with so much things, and they're working on things and not being honest about things that I think are really concerning to kind of our future. But at the end of the day, fear's the killer. I don't choose to play in that paradigm, but I think knowing about it, understanding it, is critically important with progressing in the future like we want to move forward.
Yeah, you said let's have a debate about what's a bigger problem, the government or corporations. From my point of view, corporations wouldn't exist without government. They don't have these sort of things in a free market. So they're given all kinds of benefits by the government. So you have, they're allowed to have like very limited sort of, what do you call that? Liability. So, if Google ever has a problem and causes someone and kills a bunch of people by accident or whatever, even on purpose, they don't necessarily go after Eric Schmidt himself or the shareholders. It's just the corporation itself. So it has limited liability and has all these benefits. It's actually treated as almost like better than a real person.
Exactly.
In many ways. So you wouldn't have these big corporations, especially like giant international, multinational corporations, without the government. Not in the way that it is today, in my opinion. You just wouldn't. as well, all the central banking enables a lot of these things to become so gargantuan over time because it can just constantly be stealing from the people and keeping growing that way. So, to me, like I totally understand what you're saying, and when you say Google and Facebook are serious problems, and now you start to hear some people say, oh, they should be regulated. Of course, no anarchists like to see the government regulate anything, but really what these things are, they're sort of like a fascist contraption. It's a complete mix between the government and the private sector. Yeah. And really, we should just get rid of the government and everything will be fixed.
But then that would kind of lead to, I think, a bigger problem, because I think you can't make the argument for a free market when we have a quasi-fake market established right now that's portraying to be kind of a free market. Because to me, what I'm seeing happening is ultimately there's capitalism for the middle class and lower class, and there's socialism for the rich. And that's why Monsanto gets government subsidies. Google gets government subsidies. All these mass corporations are getting these hands out. And I see a lot of libertarians say, and a lot of also anarchists say, well, the free market would fix it all. But I think, and challenge me if you think I'm wrong, I think the argument that needs to be made beforehand is, wait, hold on. We need to stop subsidizing and giving our tax dollars to these corporations, and we have to figure out a solution. And that solution I don't know about. I mean, for an example, what happened just here in Chiapas, where the Coca-Cola plant started taking all the well water for Coca-Cola. They dried up all the well water here. And now the residents, some of the residents in the communities here in Chiapas have to buy bottled water, which again, Coca-Cola has a big monopoly on that entire market. So we're seeing that kind of very destructive behavior where I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, where I do think some regulations are rolling back some of the things that made these corporations so powerful because of the government need to happen in some kind of way.
Yeah, and but we'll see if that ever happens, right?
How do you do that without regulating them?
Right. Well, you brought up 2 points, and you said one is that these corporations get a lot of subsidies. So right there, get rid of taxation, get rid of government, no more subsidies. That's pretty easy, right? Then you bring up Coca-Cola in this one area. Well, they also are given rights by the government, because if this was a free market, the people were really pissed off, they'd probably go and shoot up that plant or whatever, and it all sort of work itself out. Anarchy's a little messy. But if someone's causing that much problems in the local community where they're really actually stealing such important things as the actual water those people are drinking, they're actually being protected by the government here, right? In many ways, right? So again, it really comes down to government. But I see what you're saying. Like, people are like, some of these corporations are becoming almost as bad as the government,
and almost as big and almost as powerful, and even have more money than some governments.
Right, but they're being protected by the government. The government is essentially their police force. So that's basically what fascism is. So if we can just get rid of government, or really just downsize it dramatically, a lot of things would improve.
I still think the corporate powers has to be rolled back somehow, because it's an unfair monopoly that these corporations have. You can't get away without using Google. And if Google wants to silence you, like they've been silencing so many people, they will, and they have. Not only with demonetization, but YouTube just like blacklists stuff, terminates stuff, deletes it, and makes sure no one can ever see it ever again.
Well, I think the market has to come up with a solution to it, and I think it already has. Things like Steemit, things like DTube, which you're now on. So that's the market's reaction to this, right? The market always comes up with a solution, because if people want stuff, entrepreneurs will always find a way to get it to them. That's the beauty of the market, right? So a lot of people were saying, holy cow, half the stuff on Google and YouTube or Facebook is just being blocked. You can't even find it anymore. So someone starts Steemit, someone starts DTube. It's small. It's, just starting now, but I could see those things totally taking, they could actually destroy Facebook in the next couple of years.
I hope so. And we did see things like Yahoo and MySpace go up and then go down. I'm hoping with kind of the decentralized, incentive-driven, free choice of association, a free choice of being able to click on what you want. But they made it so convenient for the mass public. Look at a social media network like Gab. Google just deleted them. Now people can't have Gab on their phones. Like, how do you stop that without some kind of state being like, hey, you guys control the market share here. You guys dominate it. That's the big quagmire of everything that I've been researching and looking into.
Well, again, I think you just have to let the markets fix it. And the biggest problem is the market really enables these corporations. As you said, the government is subsidizing them, the government is protecting them. So if you get rid of the government, those things really will take care of themselves.
I didn't mean to quiz you, but it's a very intellectual kind of gray space that I'm in right now, because the whole libertarian and anarchist ideas sound great, but I see so many also vulnerabilities. I definitely see more vulnerabilities within the bigger kind of state apparatuses, but I'm still trying to figure out a great solution, and it's very hard to be with any ideology because they all have weaknesses in some levels, and for every problem there's always a different kind of response. And I think with Google, Facebook, the response can't be an open free market. To be honest,
an open free market would mean no government, which would mean that they wouldn't have a lot of the benefits they have today.
But if you end government now, they're still at such a powerful level.
Well, let's think about that. What would happen if you ended government today? They'd still exist, yes, but would they exist in their current form? That's hard to say because they lose a lot of those protections that they get by the government, and they get lose a lot of those subsidies. But again, it's really up to the market to fix these problems, in my opinion. And
information and knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's why I do what I do, because I know information is the most powerful aspect of any life, of even any war, and knowledge is power. And I think the more of us that know, the more of us that can make conscious decisions. And sadly now, they've made it so convenient and so easy to use Google Chrome and turn on ad blocker that it's just difficult to see an alternative that works just as conveniently for you, that's connected to your phone, that can be connected to your TV. I'm having a hard time understanding the big dangers that Google is throwing at us and doing behind our backs, trying to even move away from them, or even having an iPhone or an Android device or a Google device. Those things dominate the market. So it's just difficult, but understanding, it's just hard because all these other competitors against them won't have a chance because they don't have the intelligence agencies, they don't have the subsidies, they don't have the hand in the pocket of government that will help them get to another level that can actually compete with these guys on the convenience that they established for all of us.
Right, but if you get rid of that government, then they get rid of a lot of the advantages that Google and Facebook do have. So it gives the market a chance, at least, right? And you're wondering what would happen in that case. No one really knows. That's the beauty of the free market. But I think, in general, most of these problems are caused. Like, I actually believe, I don't know about you, you can tell me what you think. I think really it's quite clear now, Google at the very least, maybe not Facebook, but Google for sure, was definitely started in concert with the CIA, with the intelligence apparatus of the U.S. And I think they were given tons and tons of resources. I haven't looked into it. I can't prove it.
Well, there's a lot of shady seed money.
Yeah,
and as you know, the CIA has other corporations that they funnel money through.
Right.
So, I mean, even the Google Maps program was launched in cooperation with the government so they could map everything. And now we're seeing the advancements of that to give me your fingerprint, now a total biometric face scan. And it's been interesting because there have been many public debates between Google and the FBI. Google saying that, the iPhone. Apple saying that they wouldn't release a suspect's information to the FBI. The FBI just said, fine. They just had the software the whole time. They went through the back door and got all the information they needed without needing Apple to even open it because of the tech and software that they had, but they'd still put up this big phony debate and this big phony stand, which is hard to see other than the purposes of disinformation, because they have that source code and they could not release that source code. But as we know, the government wants to know and see everything that you're doing in very crazy, scary ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things we were talking about a little earlier is I don't actually mind if a business, like if I'm using their products and I'm going from place to place on their sort of product, like a Google Chrome or an iPhone or whatever it is, and they're tracking me and they've told me they're tracking me or whatever to some extent, and I could turn it off or whatever, or maybe I can't even, but it's my choice if I want to use their product. I actually don't mind that much if it's just a real, just normal business who just wants to give me ads that like fit exactly what I'm looking for, right? Like, I don't mind that too much. But when it's the government that's tracking you, the government, its only job really is to extort people, kidnap, and kill people. That's the only thing government does, right? So you definitely don't want them having your information.
Well, there's also corporate espionage, especially with Uber. trying to ruin a journalist's life because they were writing bad stories about them, and tracking that person through the Uber app, or tracking people's personal details, or even with the latest information with Equifax, what happened in the United States, where around 100 million people lost their entire identities, their social security numbers, their addresses, all because of this corporation that decided to sit on the information for weeks. When your information, personal information, was hacked, when your identity was stolen, they sat on it for so they could prepare for it. The major executives sold their stock in that corporation, and then they still came off on top. And I think this is where it gets dangerous. With the technological advancements, I think it's more and more difficult not to want some kind of regulatory body to intervene and at least keep an eye on it, because especially when we're talking about, I know this may be the new level where we disagree, but let me just explain why I kind of disagree, because the power that they have right now is God-like. Facebook was doing experiments on their users who didn't know they were a part of a psychological experiment, where they controlled people's emotions and made them really happy and made them really sad just by changing the way that they saw Facebook. They have the power to now not only watch and see everything you're doing, but to control your emotions. And you add that with the biometric facial scanning technology that not only maps your face, but is advancing at such a level where it could now see if you're predispositioned to a criminal behavior, could now see your IQ level, could now see if you're gay or straight. So giving that kind of power to a third-party private entity that has 20 pages terms of services that you, of course, never read, with them developing AI, artificial intelligence, that's going to be far superior and far smarter than we are. Knowing the track record of corporations, am not too optimistic about that future.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting, and you're talking about regulating these sort of things. Regulation just never works.
I wouldn't want the government to regulate it. This is
that's the thing. The market.
This is my quagmire. Yeah. I don't want the government to regulate it because the government's going to take their hands on it and then do more sinister things with it.
Absolutely.
But the corporations are just as sinister sometimes.
Sure.
And this is the kind of philosophical debate that I've been having internally within myself. It's like, okay, if we give corporations the total freedom to do what they want, we won't know a lot of the stuff they're doing. And now with the advancement of technologies, it's getting to such a crazy, scary level that it really makes you wonder, what is the correct kind of ideology, what is the correct kind of solution towards this, with a greater kind of philosophy behind it?
Well, I think partially it's just personal choice, right? Like, I don't watch TV. The only time I flew into the U.S. a couple weeks ago, I couldn't believe, I'd walked by CNN and I couldn't believe what was even on it. It's so amazing that people think that's like news. And, I'm on the internet, but I'm quite aware of, I go to the exact stuff I'm looking for. I'm aware of what they're doing, so I can turn off some of the things that they're doing. It doesn't really affect me that much. So, I understand what you're saying. I know this thing can grow really crazy.
You're very rare, Jeff.
Well, I know that.
On many levels.
Well, but you know what? Yeah. It's also a personal thing that people have to decide. So I don't care who you are, but the 7 billion people out there, you need to make a decision. Do you want them to have this kind of control over you? Because you do have choices. You can turn off Facebook. You can do it. You're still on there,
It'll be hard to run a news organization without it.
Sure, it's hard, but you could do it.
I don't know if I would survive.
You could just put your news on it and never use it, though, right? So if you're concerned about it, like, what is it? Like, let's think about this. What is it you're really concerned? They're going to start controlling your emotions? Like, your emotions are already pretty out of control. So,
I think the aspects of power and influence is shifting away from the public sector towards the private sector.
Sure.
And governments are relying more on these third parties, just like we've seen the CIA rely on other businesses and other corporations and other entities to do their dirty work so they don't have to face any responsibility. And I think there really isn't a solution towards it because it's like choosing between two evils. But I recognize these two evils, and I don't want to give leeway to any one of them. So I'm kind of stuck here in the middle. Maybe someone in the comment section will have an answer and a solution that will work for all of us. But I think everything has to stop being so generalized. Everything needs to stop being in such a picture, and we need to take things one-on-one. But you yourself are very different, though. Like, I'm very different. We understand the kind of propaganda matrix that's being used on us, the kind of emotional manipulation, the kind of psychology that goes behind a lot of mass media to make you feel either sad, fearful, or angry. There's a reason people in marketing try to evoke those emotions to you. There's a reason they sell beer with girls in their bras jumping up and down. There's a reason they have the, big muscle guy in this, great car, because it makes you feel like you're lacking something. It makes you feel insignificant. If you're able to be angry or sad or feel insufficient, you're going to buy crap to fill that void within yourself. And I think we're seeing that kind of being escalated in such a level that it's really becoming very destructive. And we're seeing the materialism, and we're seeing society kind of change in front of our eyes when it was used for something so incredible and so good.
Well, I think, we're going through lots of different transitions. I know you personally, you're quite hippie-ish. You got your jewelry on there, your crystals or whatever. I'm into that stuff. Like, what really is the true answer to all this stuff that's going on? Get into yourself, get spiritual, get connected, spend a lot of time in nature doing this. Everything's fine, right? So I know what
no
you're
one's going
saying.
to click on that.
Yeah, sure.
You make a video like that, and no one's going to click on that.
What do you want money for?
Money's pointless.
Right. So why you do it?
I do it because I love talking about what's really happening in this world. I see a huge disservice happening with the mainstream media, even now with a large portion of the alternative media. The people that we used to look up before, they used to talk about the left and right, have either turned very left or very right. I definitely don't agree with those people. I think the answer is within the individual. But I'm able to, turn on MSNBC or CNN and watch their programs and be like, holy cow. Like, they are brilliant at the way that they try to market things, at the way that they try to lie, at the way that they try to sell different ideas and to condition people. There's a reason the CIA has influenced major movies. There's a reason the CIA and Pentagon have worked with major television shows, because they know it's a way to influence people. And I think now they're moving away from the television, which less and less people are watching, and moving online. And I think that's why we're seeing even alternative media being pushed on us that also is moving away from that. Of course, there's a lot of clicks in sensationalism. There's a lot of clicks in bad news. Just like marketing, if you're able to evoke an emotion, more people are willing to click on something if they're frustrated or angry, and share it. And that's where most of the revenue comes for a lot of these kind of independent media organizations. Why I do what I do is because I love seeing the propaganda, being able to do my own research, talk to my contacts, look at documents, being able to put it all together and show people how that's an absolute lie, give them the truth, and at the end, I always try to leave on a positive note and tell people some kind of uplifting message at the end of my videos. Just like we did today, where we talked about how fear doesn't serve you. Like, here's all the latest information with Bitcoin that you need to know if you do want to make money, if you do want to buy whatever dumb things you want to buy, and if you want to be rich or whatever, here it is. But that's meaningless. Fear is really the killer that you should all know about, and you should all really consider and look deeper within yourself to kind of find that answer and find that solution. It's just been difficult because I think we're doing so well, and these latest events have really just delve this down, and I think a lot of people are emotionally taking the bait, and they're being manipulated with it.
Yeah, no, it's an ongoing war, and it's ups and downs. You might think we're in a bit of a down at the moment. I haven't quite seen it that way myself.
Well, consciously.
Consciously,
spiritually.
Yeah. Well, I've also seen a major rise in that kind of stuff, though, too.
When it comes to people fighting each other in the streets or hating each other because of their political ideology, I definitely see an agenda. See, this is what's really happening, and people don't understand this. The banksters and the elites are all laughing, looking down at us as they are not only destroying the middle class, but they're having the lower class and the middle class fight amongst themselves, among statues, amongst free speech, amongst ideas, amongst conversations. Meanwhile, we're being looted and robbed. Our food and water supply is being poisoned. We're getting massive disinformation on so many levels, and I see it working. And that's why I think we're at a low. when it comes to kind of the overall consciousness, because now we're coming to a point where people are actually meeting each other in the streets and beating each other up, and I just want to walk in there and be like, guys, stop it. Just stop being so stupid. There's so many more important things happening, but those don't get any attention like they used to on the independent media market, like they used to on the internet, because those alternative media personalities are like, yeah, Antifa is bad, yeah, or the alt-right's bad. And it's like, gosh, come on. Like, it's way bigger than that. And it's a great way to get money. It's a great way to become famous. But I refuse to do it. Even when I was beat up by Antifa and had piss thrown at me by Antifa, I'm not going to go super right because of that. I won't let those incidences change me, because I know the solution is way bigger than just that left-right paradigm.
Well, you seem to live a very good life, very balanced life. Like, you don't seem
sometimes.
to be...
We're not perfect.
No, of course not. But and you also go to some of these things, like you were just at Berkeley.
Yeah.
And I went to one of them. I actually went to Berkeley with you a few months ago, and there's like 200 guys on this side, 200 guys on that side, and they just throw things at each other. It's kind of stupid, but it doesn't really seem to me like that's the whole society going crazy or anything. Don't you think that's a little bit overblown as well?
No, but it is escalated, and I don't like what we're seeing now. We haven't seen in a very long time, where the mainstream media and the politicians and the banksters are able to manipulate people so much that they're just obsessing about hurting someone else, and people are getting hurt. I think that's a huge victory for them. I think it's done brilliantly on their part, because ultimately, if someone's in control, they want to run things very organized. They want to run things where it just works out for the benefit of them, and I see it working out so well for them. I see so many people hoodwinked. I see so many people just lied and cheated to and put all of their life's emotions, put everything on the risk because of those false ideas that were implanted in their head. Whether it's believing in Donald Trump, and now he has Goldman Sachs and like a number of Goldman Sachs executives in his administration, and they're passing laws that work in favor of Goldman Sachs, or whether it's the person who wanted Hillary Clinton to be in office, and they're taught that anyone on the right of Mao is wrong and is horrible and is a Nazi. Both of these industries on the left and right need to thrive on each other's ignorance and mistakes. So the more Antifa becomes violent, the more the right loves it. The more the right becomes stupid and hypocritical and hurts people in the streets, the left loves it. And we're seeing those kind of forces brewing, and they're feeding themselves against each other. Without one, you can't have the other. So they need each other's ignorance and stupidity to survive, and they're doing everything in their power to make sure it continues.
I guess one of the real sort of answers is getting the right information to the right people. Unfortunately, as you pointed out, a lot of this information is getting blocked. A lot of the people are so indoctrinated and go through the government schools, so they don't even really know how to think. They almost become almost like robots, and they're just repeating what they're told.
Yeah, a lot of strange things happens. People subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then they're like, oh, yeah, I'm not subscribed somehow. How did that happen? People click the bell button on my YouTube channel, and then they're like, wow, I never got a notification.
Yeah, and I know you on Facebook, I don't know how many followers you have, but you'll post something, you have like 2 likes. I'm like, that's just literally not possible. Like, to have thousands of people on your page, you post something pretty cool, 2 likes, I'm like, something's going on.
I learned to be okay with it. I learned that I'm not always going to have the best views. I learned, I know how the media market works very well, and that's why I love teaching Change Media University, because I'm able to go to these people who want to be journalists, who want to have their media companies, who want to have their voice heard online, and I'm like, this is the unethical thing to do. Don't do this. This is the ethical thing that you should do, and it's going to be hard. But at the end of the day, it's going to be more worthwhile. It's going to be more fulfilling than anything else you could ever imagine in your life. Because a lot of these people, I know like some big media personalities that work for major media networks. A lot of them have substance abuse problems. A lot of them take, very strong painkillers or alcohol to drown out a lot of just the insufficiency that they feel within themselves, because they know. A lot of these journalists know they're not doing the job that they should be doing. Their job title is being a journalist, but in reality, they're just PR for the establishment.
We heard that.
And we heard that personally ourselves when we were getting drunk at Bilderberg in the cigar room with the White House press corps. You know, we know that's happening. So, and I know it just by knowing some of these guys who no one knows I know, who I don't associate with. They don't associate with me, but, you know, we have a couple drinks there and there and we talk, and yeah, those people are suffering.
Yeah, you do evil stuff, you're going to suffer, your soul's going to die. So, you know, you brought up some good points about what could or can be done, and one of them is to spread information. One of them is to become an actual journalist yourself, which we could use more and more of. And I know that, Lara, your tail. You're going to do Change Media University for the third year, I think, in a row at Anarchapulco. Or is it fourth? Fourth?
Yeah,
oh,
I've been here since day one.
Oh, right, yeah. So,
I love Anarchapulco.
Yeah, and always a good time. And a lot of people already signed up to that, so that's good. So a lot of people get signed up.
Yeah, you see a lot of disinformation about Acapulco. I mean, there are dangerous areas outside of here within gang territory and all that. But in reality, I love Acapulco. It's one of the most beautiful places. I love the beach. I love the people. It has life. It's not like Cancun, where you just have tourists and pretty much just indentured servants working for nothing. Here you have, you know, you're intermixing with the locals. You're able to talk to them. They're nice and they're friendly. I love it here. The beach is beautiful. The people are great. And that's why I really love Anarchapulco, and I love all the people you bring into, and it's always insane time.
Yeah, so if you're interested in becoming more like a journalist and stuff like that, check out Change Media University. It's on anarchapulco.com. Of course, Anarchapulco is coming up February 15th to 18th right here in Acapulco. And as well, I should let people know about, you're now on DTube. So Steemit, for people who don't know, someone has launched a Steemit-backed YouTube called DTube, which I don't know if it's for sure or not, but a lot of people are speculating it means decentral tube. But you're on there now. So, you know, one of the ways that you can support people like Luke, who's out there, and you put out like a story almost every day. It's pretty amazing. And you're all over the place. And I've seen you work. You work really hard. And so for people who want to support them, just get on there, upvote your videos, upvote your blogs. You also have Patreon and stuff like that. Why don't you just let people know all your information?
Well, I like to promote like one alternative. There's so many. There's BitChute, there's Steemit, there's DTube. I like Steemit, steemit.com / and it's at Luke We Are Change, and the same with DTube at Luke We Are Change. So definitely check it out. Let me know what you think, and if you guys think I could be better in some way, let me know. Let me have it. I love the critical thinkers out there. I love the critical comments. I even love the people who call me Putin and say I have a Pinocchio nose. I love all you guys. It's awesome. I appreciate the dialogue and the discourse, and it means a lot to me, and that's why I try to answer comments any free time I have.
Yeah, we should let people know, too, that we've been to a number of places together, including Venezuela. That was a really interesting experience. And, of course, we've been to 2 Bilderbergs together. You've been to many more than that, but I've been to 2 with you. We've been to all over the place, really. And we've been discussing where's the next place we should go together. And so put in the comments section below where you think we should go.
Probably North Korea.
Yeah,
you were talking about North Korea.
Yeah. I was thinking Iran, but you seem to be not as gung-ho on Iran.
No.
I was also thinking Somalia for us anarchists out there, because I'm getting tired of this. If you like anarchy so much, go to Somalia. I'll be like, yeah, I was just there. It was pretty nice, you know. Anyway, put in the comment section down below where you want to send Luke and I to die.
Uruguay would be nice.
Uruguay, that's
boring. I want to die. I want to live life.
Come on, we got to do something interesting.
There's a fine line. There's always a fine line.
Anyway, so put it in the comment section below and check out Luke's stuff. He's on YouTube, of course. We Are Change. Like it, subscribe to his channel there. Like it, upvote all this kind of stuff, because we're under attack so much, and there's just not that many people out there like what Luke's doing, and just support them in any way. And it could just be like, if you turn on their video and an ad's playing, although I think you get most of your ads turned off, but if it is, just let the ad play if it's someone that you really like, because that actually gives them revenue.
Well,
right?
If you want to watch it, watch it. If you don't. If you want to have ad blocker, have ad blocker. If you want to tip, it means the world to me, because right now our operation wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for people tipping, donating, giving cryptocurrencies, upvoting on Steemit. That is the bread and butter of this operation. I know I can make a lot more money doing other things, but I refuse to.
Yeah, that's great. So And if you like this video, please like, subscribe, share down below. Get this information out there. Another great talk with you, Luke. Glad to see you, and we'll be seeing you back here in February for Anarchapulco and for Change Media University. And that's it for Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet. Peace, love, and anarchy.
In a world where Antifa riots in the city streets, cops rage out of control, and the leader of the free world is a fat-ass casino owner, one event stands alone to make anarchy great again.
I actually love humanity. That is why I'm an anarchist. Fuck the banks, fuck drone strikes, fuck tanks, fuck hunger, fuck war, fuck ignoring of the poor, fuck the left, fuck the right, fuck the government. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.